Hello, I'm here to talk about Project 3 Phase 3. So this project had a lot of functions dealing with branches, flip-flops, gates, etc., timelines, cameras, and possession. So for my first function, I have a timeline where the sun sets, and I have a flip-flop where this sign shows every time I press T. So I also have a character that I can possess by holding down C, and then I have a timeline here. The password is being set, and then the gate opens with the timeline as well. Inside of this building here, I have a lot of camera functions that deal with gates, and I have the the logic for the camera looking into a room, but technically the camera's not looking into the room because I didn't find it aesthetically pleasing to the game. Um, so all it does is it looks towards the object that you're interacting with. So the statue in the background, when I press W, it shows the statue. But if I were to change the colors, um, like let's say red, and I look at the statue again, there is a dialogue that shows off this statue, and then I have a different dialogue for each statue, or each time you interact with the statue. Same goes for the table. So I have a blue version, red version, green version, and a regular version, and I could just keep going through all these. Everything is working pretty much perfect. I have another camera movement here that shows the painting as well. So, I have the three colors set up, and then the non-color just for the reference for the players. And yeah, those are my camera movements. Now I could probably show you the blueprints for these. So I have a simple blueprint for the flip-flop. So if I press T, then this cube, the static cube sign, will be set to visible, and then when I press it again, it just sets it to not visible. So that's why it turns on and off. T also sets the sunset, which is basically a sort of a version of a timeline where it's using speed instead of a actual graph. If this were a graph, you'd be changing the Y on it. And then I have the character possession, which is when I press C, I possess the character in the back here. And when I release it, I go back into the original character. And for timelines, I have this code lock here, which when I enter there in the password farmer, the code lock opens the store here, which makes it slide from left to right, which is shown from the x-axis of the door opening graph here. So in 1.2 seconds, the gate here goes open to negative 192 units. And then for the camera movement, that's going to be in my other level here, the one that I walked into, to show off all the camera movement. And like I said, I didn't use the quote-unquote a camera to look inside of a building because I chose to do this more aesthetically pleasing way of doing things. And I mean, the logic is all there. So I have the camera pointing straight at the statue here, and then I have a logic for a lot of these. So when let's see if I can find it. So when I open one of the dialogues here, which is so when I click on my mouse, it enters in a integer, and then if I click on one of the dialogues when one of the integers are set to a number, it's gonna set up a prompt of a blue conversation, red conversation, or a green conversation. And when all of those when one of those functions are put into the game, the branch is set to true, which disables the movement, so you can't move while looking on the camera. So the painting camera is on, and the player possesses it. So when the player possesses it, let's see if I can find that. Yeah, here it is. So when the player possesses it, the controller is into the new view target, and then the new view target is the camera. And then I also put the actors hidden, so you won't be able to see them as well. And then I have that for 3 cameras, obviously. And then for my gates, where is it? I have a multi-gate, and the multi-gate helps so much when I'm working with things like what I showed you with the camera, with the dialogue, and with the trigger box. It bunches everything up, and it makes it easy to index, and it makes it easy to repeat. So what happens here is when W is pressed, and I have multiple functions for W, such as opening the door to get out of the building. But when W is pressed, it's going to check if the dialogue is being set, and each of the trigger boxes for these events add 1 to the dialogue. So if a trigger box has a dialogue of 2, let's say, it's going to put dialogue painting, and then when dialogue painting is played, then everything in the function of the dialogue painting will go off, and then it's going to reset back into the multigate for everything else to work again. And it's a super good or helpful function that has multiple uses, and I just chose to use this for resetting and setting functions for the same input, which is W. And I can obviously add more with add pin. I can add more dialogues. I can have different type of interactions as well. So that's basically what I have for all of my phase 3 this week. I have a lot of branch sequences, multi-gate sequences, flip-flop sequences, and those timelines that I showed you. I messed a lot with the cameras, and like I said, I didn't have a reason to put the camera into a room so you can survey it. Although I thought the camera pointing at things would be a lot more pleasing to me. So that's about it. Thanks.